Hello, it's Jimmy Akio. I'm in my arcade room, as you see. I'm here to talk about the big fight coming up with Manny Pacquiao and Mario Barrios for the WBC welterweight title. I'm just going to talk about what's the past of these guys, and then see what's going to happen. We'll talk about what I think will happen in the fight, and see what some of the experts say about this big fight coming up. Now, Manny's such a great person. I even trained at the Wild Card for a short period of time when I've been long retired. But it was a great gym. I really liked it, and had a great time there. And but nice to see Manny all the time, and he's such a great guy, great humanitarian, and amazing boxer, A-division world champion. Amazing thing that I think will never happen in boxing again. Now, let's talk about Mario Barrios first. Now, that's, even though he's just the side note, supposedly, even though he's the world champion, Manny Pacquiao is the draw, the big name, and that's what's going to make this event so huge. Now, Mario Barrios is a two-division world champion. Now, he was the WBA junior welterweight champion at one time. He made one title defense. Some people call it the super lightweight division. I always refer to it as the junior welterweight division, back when Aaron Pryor was the junior welterweight champion. They never called it super lightweight. All of a sudden they changed. I prefer junior welterweight over super lightweight champion. Anyways, just my opinion, of course. Now, back to Mario Barrios. He made one title defense of that WBO junior welterweight title before facing Gervonta Davis in a huge pay-per-view, Showtime pay-per-view event. And Gervonta Davis knocked him down twice, I believe, in the 8th, and stopped him in the 10th or 11th. And Mario Barrios lost his first world title and got his first defeat as a professional. And then, since coming up after that, Mario Barrios then moved up in weight to welterweight division. Mario Barrios is a very big guy, so he's not a small guy. So he's kind of, maybe he was having a hard time making weight, but regardless, he moved up in weight very comfortably, and he fought a guy coming off a loss too. So his first fight back was fighting another guy who had a loss. But the guy that he fought that was coming off a loss was Keith Thurman. Now, Keith, one-time Thurman, just lost to Pacquiao, and Barrios just lost to Davis. So it seemed like a pretty clear thing after that. And, of course, watching that fight, good fight. One-time Thurman showed that he's got big power in those punches, and he's a very dangerous fighter, and he hurt Barrios a few times, and he went on to win a clear decision. I think it was two scores of 117-111 and 118-110, which is what I had a score as well. Now, since that move to the decision, he fought a couple more fights, Barrios. He won one. Then he fought Urdanis Ugas for the interim WBC world title. And Ugas actually was a clear favorite to win that fight, but actually Barrios dropped him twice in the second, I think in the 12th round, and he won a unanimous decision over Urdanis Ugas. And since Terrence Crawford had moved up in weight, they didn't think he was going to come back down after he moved up in weight. Plus, he's got that big super fight with Canelo, so they basically took Crawford off, and they gave fully elevated Mario Barrios to the full-fledged WBC world champion now. So he's not the interim anymore. They just gave him the world title after Crawford moved up. Anyways, little thing right there, but some people don't know. Now, that's his first title defense of that title. He fought a guy with a big knockouts. He had a lot of knockouts in his record, Abel Ramos. He had 28 wins, 6 losses, 2 draws, with 22 knockouts. Now, in his last 4 fights, Abel Ramos had 1 win, 2 losses, and 1 draw. That was his record the last 4 fights. Not very impressive, but let me tell you, when you're going for the world title, you're obviously going to be pumped up more than you've ever been before. So I'm sure he's in the best shape of his life and more motivated than he's ever been before. So he put on a great showing. He got dropped, though, in the second round by Barrios, but they came back to hurt Barrios, and actually had Barrios hanging on. And I thought for a second that Barrios might lose that title. And then he actually held on and was able to win a decision over Ramos and was able to keep the world title. And now he's got this huge fight. He's going to make a huge amount of money for this fight, and it should be good. But the welterweight division is very deep right now. We have probably the best fighter right now in Jaron Boots Ennis. Now he has a record of 34-0 with 30 knockouts. That's an 88% knockout ratio. He's not just the rings welterweight champion. He is the IBF welterweight champion and the WBA super welterweight champion, which is, I'll talk about that later about that. Now we also have Brian Norman Jr., who is the WBO welterweight champion. He's 27-0 with 21 knockouts. He has a 78% knockout ratio, and he's already called out Pacquiao that if Pacquiao wins this fight, he wants to unify with Pacquiao. Okay, and then we have Rolando Rolly Romero, who is the WBA regular welterweight champion. He's 17-2 with 13 knockouts. He has a 76% knockout ratio. Okay, now, to me, if Manny would have came back, he should have came back. To me, I think he had a better chance at defeating Rolando Rolly Romero than he would at Mario Barrios. He's about his size. Mario Barrios is very tall and lanky and very long reach. So that's anyways, he's fighting Mario Barrios, who is the WBC welterweight champion. And he has a record of 29-2-1 with 18 knockouts, which is a 62% knockout ratio. Okay, now we know the history of the welterweight division and who's reigning at the top right now. If Manny Pacquiao would have came back, if I was his manager, I would have had him fight Rolando Rolly Romero. To me, he's the most susceptible, I don't know if I said that right, susceptible to lose. The weakest of I wouldn't say the weakest because he is the champion. He's a two-division world champion, Rolly Romero, but I think he would have had a better shot at beating Rolando Rolly Romero other than Mario Barrios, especially after coming that big win with Ryan Garcia. It would have been a pretty big fight. But regardless, he got the shot from the WBC, so he will fight Mario Barrios for the world title. Now, Manny Pacquiao has only had a few exhibition fights, easily beating this guy in Korea, who is considered the Bruce Lee of Korea over there, and he easily defeated him. Even though it's just an exhibition, Manny dropped him a couple times. He went to Japan and he had an exhibition with a kickboxing champion, a very strong, tough guy. And this guy even admitted that he was trying to knock out Pacquiao. I don't know why, I don't know what for it's an exhibition, but he was going so hard with Manny. And Manny, I think, wasn't ready. Manny got caught with some good shots, but, Manny's always a warrior. He came back and was throwing some good shots as well. But he didn't look as great as I think he could have, but I think the other guy has a huge motivation and look good again in the Japanese crowd, for the Japanese people, and the honor that he had, that he wanted to show how good he was. So Manny had a rough time with that fight. And I think I'm going to show you a couple of clips of that right now. Okay, Jimmy Yako back. Okay, so you got to see that. Now you see how big Ryuki Ampo was, the Japanese fighter kickboxer. That's the same size that Mario Barrios will be when he fights Pacquiao. They're the same height. They're 6 feet tall. But Ampo did have a major weight gain. He gained, I think it was about 180 pounds of Manny Pacquiao's 154 for that exhibition fight. Mario Barrios is 6 feet tall, but he'll be 147 pounds for that fight. I also have a little thing here with a bunch of people that are actually saying their prediction on the fight and who they think are going to win. So I'm going to let you see that right now.
Absolutely. Manny Pacquiao's he's a legend, you know. He's a legend. I think he can do it. Absolutely. I mean, it's not going to be easy, but I think he can do it. Yeah.
I think Mario is gonna go out there and just put a beating on Manny. I think Manny's a little too old, but I mean he's a legend. He already did what he did, so I really don't see a reason for him to come back. But if he wants to get in the ring with Mario, then I guess Mario has to show him that youth. He has a youth, and Manny Pacquiao shouldn't just stay retired.
Definitely has to do with money. One, two. I think Manny Pacquiao. I think his C game is a lot better than anybody. A lot of guys' A game, even with the age. But you have to take into account the last time he stepped foot in that ring, man, against Ugas. He didn't look good. He was outmatched by, a fighter, a younger fighter. Barrios is no slouch. Barrios is a young fighter, bigger fighter, knows how to, control distance very well, can punch a little bit. Like, he's no easy task for anybody in the welterweight division. And for Manny to come back after this long and to face a young guy like that is dangerous. And sometimes, these old legends, they got to get beat up several times before they call it quits.
It's surprising. Obviously, I know Manny very well. He's a true competitor. He's a guy that if you put something in his head, and obviously to create more history, he's a guy that's going to give everything and try his best. That's what Manny. One thing I always learn with Manny is give 110% and try your best no matter what. So he's going to give it his all. Again, you can't beat Father Time, but Father Time is hard, and it was very hard watching him fight Lucas, and you could see it. And then watching the exhibition he had with the Korean guy or the Japanese guy in last year, it was hard to watch. I know Manny. I know the man that I was sparring. I love that guy. So. But again, he's a legend.
So it's true, Barrios and Pacquiao fighting in July. I told y'all, man, that was the rumor, but Suleiman confirmed it. Pacquiao wants to retire the WBC champion. I'm rooting for Barrios, though. I like Pacquiao, but I got to go with Barrios.
Manny Pacquiao coming back and fighting Keith Thurman, I'm definitely going to be cool with this one. Barrios is not a puncher. Thurman was one of the biggest punchers in boxing. I think he's going to be just fine with Mario Barrios, who we know what he is on the top level. He comes up short. He's been stopped by fighters that are less than Manny Pacquiao, Tank Davis. So I like this fight. I think he's not going to be an overwhelming favorite, but I think it'll be a 50-50 fight, regardless of his inactivity and age. His explosiveness, even at this age, his greatness, and the fact that you can never know what Barrios you're going to get. And yeah, man, I like this fight. Why not? Nostalgia, marketable. Everyone will be behind him. It'll be internationally successful.
I think Mario going to get in. Pacquiao, he a legend, man. I grew up watching him. I wish the best fight for him. Both fighters come out healthy and have a safe fight. But Pacquiao, man, he almost 50. You know what I mean? So can't. You're old now. You know what I mean? I hope he do good. But
I think the welterweight division is the weakest it's ever been. I think it's I mean, at least in my life, it's very bad. It's really poor. And so there is an opportunity to step in. I think if the welterweight division was more competitive, I think Manny wouldn't come back. I think he's picking a moment where he sees an opportunity. Mario Barrios not only continues to not impress, he looks like he's getting worse, and he wasn't that good to begin with. It just, in a weak welterweight division, a guy like that has picked up a title. So I think Manny sees an opportunity to step in and sort of, create a historic moment for himself.
Pacquiao's a big name, and obviously Barrios a great fight for Barrios because he's a champion, and I think Pacquiao, being that they both have connections with PBC, that's the easiest fight to make. So, getting another title opportunity, I just the name obviously, but I really believe that Pacquiao shouldn't be fighting. I think it's actually going to be a little. I don't want to say sad because he's going to make a lot of money, so we can't feel sorry for him. But at 46, almost 47, it's almost impossible for I'm just 4 years older, 3-4 years older than him, and it's not easy to try to think you're going to get in shape and be able to perform like the way you were when you were in your 20s 20s and 30s.
You think it's impossible for him to beat Mario Barrios right now?
Well, it's not impossible because he has power. That he should have that power. Barrios is big and a strong boy, so I don't see that happening. But is it possible? Anything's possible. George Foreman did it. There's been others that do it. But I really don't see it happening.
I don't know. We shall see. I don't know.
Do you think he's too old at 46 to fight Barrios?
I can't say if he's too old or not. If he get in there and win, then everybody will be saying different. So I don't put no limit on an all-time great like Manny.
I hope he doesn't get hurt. I think there's every chance he could do. Secondly, I think how has he got to a world title shot? Fifth in the world, imagine if he was number 1 and 2 in the division and trained all your life to get there, and then Manny comes in after being retired 5 years or whatever it is, and goes into number 5 in the division. Boxing.
For making a living, from making money. But I'm very concerned with a guy, a great man, who's helped his people, who's fought for his people, who's lifted his people up, who's given away money to his people, probably too much, but he gave away money to his people, that is in a position now that he has to fight at 46 and after 72 fights. I'm concerned. I just think you're playing with fire. That's all I think. Yeah, you could move around. You could move around, navigate a little bit, say this, say that. But there comes to a certain point with everything that no matter how much you move the furniture around, you still know what room you're in. You still know what room. You can't fool yourself. And he's in a room where he's 46 years old with 72 fights.
Sure.
Manny's a legend, and big props to him, and tip of the hat off to him for stepping up to fight a young, hungry,
champion,
world champion like Barrios. That's tough. I gotta say, when it comes to the boxing fight, I gotta pick Barrios.
Hello, Jimmy Aki, I'm back. Hope you like that. Now, to finish this all off, I don't know exactly what the purses are going to be for the big fight coming up, but I can tell you the biggest purses that Mario Barrios has made. The biggest purse he's ever gotten when he fought Keith Thurman, the final payout for him was $1.2 million. That's probably the biggest payout with pay-per-view shares and all so forth. And Gervonta Davis, after his junior welterweight title fight, he got $850,000 final payout. His last fight, when he got dropped, and he dropped the guy, and he was able to come out with a draw to keep his welterweight title, he made $500,000. This fight with Pacquiao, he'll probably be making the most amount of money he will ever make. When you fight those legends like that, and the big names like that, you're going to get the biggest payday of your career. I don't see anything different. Manny Pacquiao, I don't know what he's going to get paid for this fight, but I know his last fight he had, even though it was those fights he just did, with the exhibition he did with Ampo, the Japanese kickboxer Ampo, he made $5 million. So that's the difference. He's a huge star, and $5 million. Wow, pretty good for an exhibition fight. But that was a hard exhibition fight, let me tell you. Now the odds are going to be totally against Manny Pacquiao. Manny Pacquiao has been looking fantastic in the gyms, and hitting the bags, just like always. Flash combinations, hitting hard, popping the bag, looking great, looking the same as he always has the speed bag. But you know what? Just like in Enter the Dragon, when Bob Wall, or also known or Hara, in Enter the Dragon, he held up the board and he punched it and he broke it. And Bruce Lee, the iconic Bruce Lee, said, "Boards don't hit back." You can look great hitting the bags and doing all that stuff, but when you get in there with a live opponent, it could change. And also remember that the last guy he fought in a real pro fight, It was, even though Manny gave it a good shot, it was he won a pretty clear victory over Manny Pacquiao. Ugas won a very convincing thing. Now I'm going to say out of my heart, Manny Pacquiao will win this fight because Mario Barrios, even though I think he's a solid fighter, I think there is deficiencies there, and he's a very beatable champion. But like I said, he has got a lot of heart, and he's got some skills, good skills, and he's a solid fighter. And he's been around the block. He's a two-time world champion in 2 different divisions. So he's a solid fighter. I don't care what Paulie Malignaggi says. Paulie Malignaggi does not like this guy. But Mario Barrios is a solid fighter. And he's a 2-division world champion. So you can't really say anything about that. And anyways, my heart wants Manny Pacquiao to win. And my heart's picking Manny Pacquiao to win. My mind is saying Manny Pacquiao is 46 years old. And how many 46 years old do you see winning world title belts? Or even fighting at that age and being successful? Not very many. The oldest fighter to win a world championship, the oldest fighter to win a heavyweight title was George Foreman at 45 years old, which is completely insane to see that happening. He was getting pretty beat up by Michael Moore until he landed that great shot. But also, the oldest actual champion to ever win a world title was none other than Bernard the Executioner Hopkins. He was 49 years old when he won the world light heavyweight title against, I forgot the guy's name, Schumacher or something, or I don't know. Anyways, he won the world title. So it's pretty crazy. And he also won, I think, a light heavyweight title when he was 46. And then he won another title. The last title, I think, was 49. So it's pretty insane to see that, but very, very rare. The odds are absolutely against Manny Pacquiao winning this fight because you have to having no fights in 4 years, a professional boxing match. Exhibitions don't really count, and training in the gym doesn't really count. They actually have to get out there and get that live fight going on with a live opponent. So in my mind, I think the betting favorite should definitely be the the champion of the world, which is, and of course my heart definitely wants Pacquiao to win, but unfortunately my mind is saying that he'll retain his world title. And so anyway, that's my pick, and I hope you guys like it. Please like, subscribe, and share. And I think Mario Barrios should be able to defend his world title against Manny Pacquiao. Even though my heart wants Manny Pacquiao so bad, my heart is saying Manny Pacquiao, because Manny Pacquiao is looking absolutely amazing in the thing. And if anybody can do it, it'd be Manny Pacquiao. And I'm not saying he doesn't have a shot. I think he has a shot. He's still got his power. He's still got the will to win, and that's a major plus. But being so 16-year difference in the age gap is very substantial. So anyways, I hope you guys like the fight. I hope you like the video. Please like, subscribe, and share. And I'll see you guys on the next video. Lights out.